Welcome to another Wednesday's Word. Reading through the book of Ezekiel, in the middle here we get to some shocking language. This was one of the passages in seminary that we'd found when we'd never read that deeply into the book of Ezekiel and kind of giggled in our immaturity. But it's comparing Israel to a whore. And the Bible uses very graphic language to say exactly what Israel is doing. And it's not sexual relations that God is talking about, even though he's using that metaphor. What he's saying is that Israel is looking to other nations and other gods for security. Back then, they would ally with Egypt or other countries and worship their gods and try to get along with their systems and just be completely good pagans with the world around them. And we would never do that sort of thing today. We would never go to Egypt and worship Ra. We'd never go to Babylon and worship Baal. But we do go to America and we worship money. And we worship politics, and we worship our sexuality, and we worship our security, and we worship our way of doing life, and we are not that far removed. That graphic language is God saying that he is jealous for us. As someone who saved us and loved us, who compares himself to our husband, he hates it. He hates it when we go after other things instead of going to him. And I am as guilty of this as anybody. I am so comfortable at times. I'm so glad to know how much I have in my bank account. And I'm so happy to know that I have enough food in my pantry. But it's not always like that. And it's not always like that for most people. There are people right now who are living together because they can't afford rent for separate homes. Parents and step-parents and people all getting into one family. They have one meal a week, or one meal a day, I meant to say, because they're just barely getting by. And others are so comfortable. The Bible would call us away from greed, away from self-absorption, and toward caring for others. And that caring for others doesn't come out of guilt. It doesn't come out of a sense of nobility that I have enough that I can give to others. What the Bible constantly says is that our generosity comes when we see how dependent we are on God, how loved we are on God, so that we no longer have to look to money for security, because God is our security. We no longer have to look to our own hoarding to make sure that we'll be okay, because God will make sure that we're okay. And so this week, as we're getting ready for the holidays, as people are starting to get ready for Thanksgiving meals, if you are in need, please let us know. The church put a food pantry together, and we have a great partnership with the Marysville Food Bank. There are many generous people. There are hunters out there right now who are harvesting meat. Just let us know your needs, and we will do the best we can to help you. But if you have enough, then consider giving to others. Either giving to our new food bank or giving to a homeless shelter, to the Marysville Food Bank. We have a benevolent fund at church that for a while accumulated funds and was never used. But lately we've been using a lot of that money to help people. And it's a blessing, but it needs to be refilled. So if you have enough, then maybe you can give some to spare. One of the things I always remember is from a radio teacher, I think his name was Haddon Robinson, talking about the Lord's Prayer. He says, when Jesus says, give us this day our daily bread, and if you end up with 2 loaves, it doesn't mean you have one to eat and one to keep. It means you have one to eat and one to share. May that be our attitude, because we are so well loved, we don't need to grab onto our bread. That's all I got for this week. God bless.